When was the last time you ordered clothes online and got to try them on before paying for them? Never, right? Well, that's exactly what jackthreads.com does. You can try on anything at home for free, ladies and gentlemen. Then you only pay for what you keep. Whether it's a big name brand or the Jack Threads in-house line, you can be sure you are 100% in love with the items you ordered before spending a cent. Real quick, clear your head. Who's the most fashionable person on Kinda Funny? That's right. No, not you, Kevin. It's clearly Tim Gettys. Tim's using the service. He's like, don't say no, Kevin. Tim, Tim orders jackets and stuff all the time offline, and he looks really good. Kevin, you wear free clothes. Choose anything you want, though, from jackthreads.com, and you can try it on at home for free. You'll have 7 days to decide if it's working for you. Jack Threads gives you everything you need to send the things back, packing tape, and prepaid shipping labels, ladies and gentlemen. So go to jackthreads.com and enter the code GREGGY when you submit your tryout for 20% off anything you keep. That's jackthreads.com, code GREGGY to save 20% on anything you keep. Never buy before you try ever again. Kevin, I've read a lot of ads. That's a really good sign-off line. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hey, that's me.
That's you. How many hours of Hawken have you played?
Oh, God, countless at this point. I might be the number one Hawken player on the planet.
I'm surprised this shirt survived as long as it survived.
I'll be honest with you, I forgot we were filming something today. It's my most comfortable shirt.
Yeah? Is that what it is?
I'm guessing.
I'm surprised D hasn't put an end to it.
It has made its way from the official you can wear this out to this is a workout / sleepy time shirt.
Sure.
But I just keep yanking it out of that fucking drawer and bringing it back to life. You know what I mean? Similar to probably what Dan did with that Terminator shirt.
I've worn this quite a bit.
Over here.
Circumstances, yes.
The one and only Dan Ryckert. Thanks for stepping in.
How are you guys? Nice to meet you.
There's an election today as we film this, so Colin Moriarty's got to be all busy.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Yeah, eating mayonnaise out of the jar, watching in his boxers, watching results come in.
Well, I've heard numerous people say I actually resemble Colin, so maybe that'll work.
No, it's true.
So
well,
it's like
it's definitely the thing.
You're white, I got this. All right.
It's definitely. I think you established the look, and then Colin started gaining on it. Because for a while he did do the neo-Nazi skinhead thing. Then he was doing no beard. Then he added in the beard, and then it's when he's starting to look like you.
Okay, I had the long hair stuff for a while.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
you ever have that period?
Full bald.
Yeah, you were full bald for a while.
I did do full bald.
Very intimidating. I did not like that. I was scared.
Partially for a wrestling character.
Yeah.
You know, but,
what a surprise in your life. That's what you do.
Yeah, I'm gonna grow this out for a bit until I'm balder naturally, and then I'll probably just shave it forever.
Sure,
but for now, I'll have a little bit of hair.
Was that the scary moment for you? Because you people who are losing their hair are worried about going bald. Usually, you save the shave until there's nothing. There's no way to come back from it. That's usually when you do it.
Is that what's going on here?
Well, I shaved my head, and then my wife was like, "You stop doing that."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I've been slowly receding for probably since I was about 26, 27.
Okay.
I just embraced it now with, I'm trying to do a Bruce Willis look from Circuit Die Hard 1, 2.
All right, it works. Fits with your toes.
But my wife brought up a good point. She was like, "You've got hair. It's not like it's gone. It doesn't look bad. Just keep styling it until," and I'm sure she will let me know when that day comes, when it's time to go with it. But I don't think I'd ever go bald. I would just go really short. Still a little bit of a fade on the side, and just let it go. Yeah, just Bruce
Willis was rarely ever just full skin.
Well, until way later.
Is that what he is now?
He's bald
is that
now,
default
yeah.
Willis
He's
now?
pretty much like Vin Diesel'd out.
Oh, okay.
Like The Rock'd out.
The Rock
you're
can pull it
following
off.
in like a very like good lineage there, right?
Sure,
You've got The Rock, you've got Vin Diesel.
I'd fuck all those guys.
I would put myself between them and let them fuck me.
Wow.
There we go.
Damn,
the old Chinese finger trap, they call it.
The wobbly H. So I mean, I'm not too worried about it. Plus, I'm 36 now. I've made it through most of my life with hair. I hit 40. The fuck am I trying to kid? You know what I mean?
You're married. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
you locked
matter.
it down.
I'm hitting that shit at least once a month.
Greg, have you been seeing anyone? I haven't seen anything on social media about whether you're in a relationship or not.
God forbid someone be happy in this day and age.
No, congrats. That's a good thing.
No, I love that. I love it when I put up an Instagram post of me and Jen, and people are like, "Oh, I get it. You have a girl." I'm like, "Unfollow me, motherfucker. This ain't for free." Yeah,
you guys are both great. Every time I bring up my fiance on the Bombcast, I get the comments. She's like, "Oh, Dan can't go 2 seconds."
Exactly.
Like, no, congrats on everything.
And by the way, I don't have her number, so this will have to act. You made fantastic brownies. brownies.
Yes.
He brought some peanut butter Oreo brownies you made, and they were phenomenal out of this world.
She does great work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Over there, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Yeah, it's like me and Kevin on social media. Everyone's like, "Oh, you can't go 2 seconds without talking about Kevin."
It's very true,
He's
actually.
just with me all the time. It's what we do.
He
We're
is your shadow.
inseparable.
He is.
I saw him propose
Am I allowed
at your,
to-
your big live show, and
Yeah.
that was a touching moment.
Am I allowed to tell
Congrats.
a lunch story?
I'd love. You have to tell the lunch
We're
story
going
now.
to lunch. All right, we go to this place called Jalapeno, which actually is really good burritos. That's beside the point. As we're walking toward Tim's car, Tim hands the keys to Kevin. Kevin and they switch off, and Kevin gets in the driver's seat. I'm like, what's going on here? And Tim just says, I don't like to park.
Have you never noticed this before? This is an ongoing
how
thing.
is First time I've ever seen
How
it.
is this
Seen
the
it.
first time?
Every
Nick?
time I've been in your
Every
car,
time.
you've driven. I mean,
It's a weird thing where Tim will let Kevin park it wherever they're going, but then Tim will drive back
Tim
and park
drives
around
back.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Is
just
this a
don't.
street parking thing you don't like?
I just don't.
or-
Yeah, I
Yeah?
don't like. I don't
It's
like.
rough.
Here, okay, to be completely honest,
Please do.
I don't like parking. Like I'm gonna be real about
No one
that.
does, really.
I will park. I'm able to park. I'm down for parking. I am not down for parking when Kevin is in the passenger seat, which is all the time.
Oh, where he's like nickel and
yelling
diming
at
you.
me, giving me so much. No, stop! Just go back. Just I'm like, dude,
It-
I just can't even do this.
Here's what Tim does though.
Lay it on me, Kev.
He'll go to park at a spot and he'll be like, fuck, I missed it. And I'm like, what do you mean? And then he goes all the way around the block and then tries to hit it.
Oh, he's
again.
got to get on an approach.
Yeah.
He's like an aircraft trying to land, and then at the last second he pulls up. He's like,
That
hey,
is
no.
Tim.
It's
That's completely
no, it's-
true.
That's
Respect
That
that's
is
half
completely
true. It's
no.
half true.
How many times have you gone around my mom's house because that corner street? You were just like, I didn't get it right.
To be fair, whenever I'm around his mom's house, I'm trying to stall as long as possible to see if
He's
maybe he changes his
lying.
mind.
Yeah.
For me
He's
to
lying.
not have to go in.
All right, wait, hold on. The only time he ever goes into my mom's house is when I trick him and I'm like, you can't stay in my car. Let's go upstairs. So that story is clearly a lie.
I don't know what that means, but I don't like parking. I don't like driving with Kevin.
Sure.
And that's just pretty much my life in a nutshell. But Nick, before we move on to the whole rigmarole and stuff, I noticed you're not folding up the sleeves.
Oh, not on the Hawking shirt.
This
It doesn't-
shirt's too soft.
It doesn't have the
He's
consistency
doing this.
anymore.
He's doing this thing lately where he rolls it up there like a
Like to
little
put
bit.
cigarettes in there?
Yeah.
Like I've never
Just
seen anyone just roll up a
just to
t-shirt.
get
It's
it,
a
like,
thing. It's 20.
right
It's a
above-
2016
right above
thing.
The
hem, the hem.
tricep. The thing is also though I haven't manscaped in a while, and so there's a little bit of the Wolverine that's starting to peek out, and I'm wondering that. No, I
You're
don't care about it.
manscaping the bicep.
You
the
shave the
tricep.
arms?
I got. Well, I mean, I have. If you see here, you see how the hair just kind of keep. There's like. It's everywhere.
Right,
Really.
right.
There's not one part of my body that can't be connected. It's like Pangea. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like it started to spread out a little bit, but you can still walk from Russia all the way to Mexico if you want.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, you got to get that. You got to hit that tricep because you can see right here, like you can see where the fine hair starts to get into the bristly hair there.
Right.
That's got to go.
Oh,
This has
here
to be
Kevin's
smooth
bringing in.
up.
Kevin's bringing in
That's
the
gotta be
digital
so-
zoom.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
That adds enhance, enhance.
Luckily for me, the digital zoom just scales it, so I look like a jumbled mess of pixels right now. The fuck are we talking about?
I've got
You're
a
gonna get
full
on this.
mat up front and then nothing on the back.
Oh, I've got-
just
I'm all-
tons. There's a rug.
I've got patchy
Austin
wings.
Powers thing here.
Patchy wings on the back.
Patchy
Yeah, yeah.
wings?
Yeah,
Is that like the shoulders? Or?
Yeah, like up here, I got these weird patches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
yeah.
Greg's back looks like someone started the wax job, and then
Okay.
it was too
I'm
painful. And
tired.
he just
They
left.
died. Edward Scissorhands. I was almost complete, and they just died in the middle of the wax job.
Yeah.
I just have the third nipple.
Do you really?
That is actually true, yes.
Let's see it.
You want to see it? No.
Yeah.
It's very tiny. You might need you got a digital
Get
zoom
the
for this?
digital zoom ready
All
on the
right.
main cam.
All right, here we go. My grandpa has this too.
This is
All
beautiful.
right, so you got
Oh,
one
wow.
there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
You got one there. And then we got to bring it in right down there.
Whoa.
Wait, what? Do you, what
Bring it in
wait,
here.
what? Why are you?
Oh no!
Kev, this is me. Hi.
It's a tragedy.
Kevin, I'm not his third
Hold on.
nipple.
Right here, you're gonna have to zoom in. It's tiny.
He's doing his
It's a
best.
tiny one.
Don't freak out. Hold on.
I'm not
Don't
gonna
freak out.
At this point, we could have just moved you closer.
Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in. Enhance. Enhance.
Jeez, look at that
Keep going.
blurry ass zoom we got.
Yeah. Focus enough to see the nub. Otherwise, you don't know it's a nipple. It could just be a mole.
Yeah, he can't focus. If
There's a
he's
nub. Greg, can you confirm there's a nub here?
Yeah, I can see the nub.
Yeah, there's a
Okay,
full on
all
nub
right.
there. It
It
looks
is-
like Porty's nipples.
Oh, okay.
Does.
All right.
Have you considered maybe you're part dog?
Sure. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah. I like most of the same things.
That's right.
Eating and naps. And, yeah.
too.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather around this table. What
Kevin,
are you
you threw it off.
fucking doing,
You
Kevin?
ruined it.
How many times do you want to cut around?
What do you do?
Kevin, we
All right,
gave him
guys,
too
no.
many switches and gizmos and
Guys,
gadgets.
guys, I'm gonna be honest. It's a bad day. I keep placing my hand in the wrong place. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry.
Is the new studio too much for him?
No, he just
yeah.
no. We just overload him with work, and then
Okay.
for some reason we've told him 1,000 times in the intro, don't cut, and then right there he did 3 cuts.
Goodness.
I was prepping the preview so that I could switch it, but my hand
hear
was
what
not
you're
on the
saying.
preview.
Here's what we're gonna
line.
do. We're gonna do something new. All right.
Not on the
We're
preview
gonna
line.
we're gonna restart. All right. Not the whole show, just this part. This is how we're gonna do it from now on. All right. All right, Kevin. Hands against the wall. Get up and put your hands on the wall. Kevin, go put your
Take
hands
your
on the
pants
wall.
off
Hands
your
on
hands
the wall.
Take your
The
pants
headphones.
down.
Kevin, careful of the headphones.
Good job. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy show each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny. Where how's he? God damn it! Oh, God, I thought he was making a jack off motion. I didn't know he got the phone out to switch
he can
cams.
switch
Your
his
phone can do that?
Kevin can
What
control.
kind of spaceship is this place? It's like being on the Jetsons.
Kevin can control everything in this place from his phone. It's
Oh my
trippy.
God.
You can
Like,
unlock
I'm
the
worried he's
doors.
gonna lock
Yeah.
me in. I'm not gonna be able to get out, and the cops are gonna come.
Jesus.
It's gonna be nuts.
You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny, get every episode early. If you have the money, you can get perks and goodies and all that good stuff. Exclusive episodes. It's great. I'm about to interview Tim's brother for an exclusive. I'm very excited about
That
it.
is going to be
Cool Greg.
awesome.
Yeah. We're
Can
gonna
we call him Cool Greg?
we already
Did you
did
miss
that. That
that?
happened on Extra
Is that a
Life.
thing?
He's
Yeah,
now
Cool Greg is a thing.
That's
What's your
how
brother do?
My brother does nothing.
Okay.
So that's
right now
why
he
this
guts
is
fish,
it.
I think.
Yeah,
That's the new
starting
job.
Fish hunting?
Today
No,
is his
guts
first
them.
day.
Oh, guts fish?
Yeah.
Okay,
Guts
that's
the fish
gross.
open.
I've done
Yeah.
that a couple times. It's gross. Yeah.
I'm
not
excited to
ideal.
hear his stories from it when I interview him for the exclusive episode. You'll be able to get on patreon.com/kindafunny. If you have no bucks to toss our way, no big deal. Head to youtube.com/kindafunny, where we post the entire show topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big video and MP3 the following Friday. Now, Dan Ryckert,
Yes, Greg.
you're here for a number of reasons.
Yes.
Number 1, we love you.
Oh, thank
We've
you.
pointed that out.
I love you guys,
Number
too.
2, we think you're funny.
Thank you.
Number 3, you're leaving us eventually.
I am.
You're going to New York, which
Like
I'm not a fan of.
6
Boo
weeks or
indeed.
so.
Boo
Have you been to
indeed.
New York?
I have been.
It's great.
New York's
Yeah, it's
great.
all right. Yeah, it's good
I
to
like it a
visit.
lot.
It's expensive.
Oh, says San Francisco.
Anyway, no, you're right. You
It's
nailed me
less
on that one.
expensive
You
than
nailed
New
me.
York. I'm looking at places
Nah,
in
it's
Manhattan.
not that much.
I'm looking at places in Manhattan that are less expensive than here in the sunset of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I have had a good time. I know I shit on San Francisco plenty and
Sure.
on Twitter and stuff, but it's been 2.5 years, and I've really enjoyed a lot of the city, a lot of the people. It's been great, obviously, working with Giant Bomb out here, and I'm lucky enough for them to have a office out east.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm staying with Giant Bomb, going east. It should be great.
I enjoy that you duped Tim Turry into moving out here. Like, we'll be best friends again, and then you just dumped him.
He gives me shit for that, yeah.
But the other reason you're here is that you are putting out a new book,
Yes.
The Dumbest Kid in Gifted Class.
Yes, it actually was officially released about an hour before I got here.
Oh no!
I've been
Wow!
waiting for the
Congratulations.
Amazon store page to go up, so it actually just went up. So as of right now, it is on sale.
All right, so that means, of course, the link is in the description, Kevin,
Oh,
and maybe we're putting up a short link like that says kindafunny.com/Dan's book.
Oh,
There you go, and that'll
thank
take you
you.
right to the Amazon page to get it yourself.
hey, there's your name on the back of the book.
Hey, I wrote a little blurb on the back.
Yeah, you did.
I want to read the back.
Sure.
Yeah, go for
If
it.
I may.
Yeah, what's this book all about, Tim?
Well, so here's the thing. About I would say maybe a little over a year ago. No, fuck, maybe 2 years ago. I met you for the first time
At the Smash Brothers
At the
thing?
Smash Brothers
Yeah,
thing.
at
I
his
realized.
place.
Yes, I
Yeah.
realized we're best friends, and you are awesome, and you are
A fellow
we're
Nintendo guy.
yeah, we're kindred
Yeah.
spirits in a
Switch.
lot of ways. So, and in addition to that, you then came on Gamescast, and you just blew me away with your accomplishments in life. You were just one of those dudes that has so much random facts about him, where you're like, he's fascinating as all hell. Then you read the back of this book, and you're like. It just reaffirms my love for you.
Oh,
Let's go through this.
thank you. Okay.
Since 2009, Dan Rickert's life has been well documented. Whether through his writing, live appearances, tweets, or thousands of hours of video and podcast appearances, his work has been seen by many. He set 2 Guinness World Records, earned the ire of legendary baseball players, penned 2 novels about an alligator fighter pilot, raised thousands for charity via custom Super Mario Bros. Levels, and works a side job as a professional wrestling manager. These are the stories that people already know. Before jumping headfirst into the public eye, Ryckert's history was just as unique. He's been a Catholic schoolboy and an insufferable movie theater employee. He's befriended the insane and almost been stabbed. Time and time again, he's taken long shots that have inexplicably paid off in ridiculous ways. Dan Ryckert's history of unlikely events didn't start in 2009. They were happening for 25 years prior to that, and the details can be found in The Dumbest Kid in Gifted Class. And then Greg writes, Dan is like the Dos Equis man. He's interesting, has unbelievable
I didn't write
stories.
this. That's not me.
Oh,
That's the other
That's
quote.
Nikki Glazer.
No, but read that quote because it's really funny too.
No reason they're gonna compare it to my
really
quote
funny.
then.
And we'll
probably
probably
Nikki did a much better job, Drake.
die of
Yours is great.
cirrhosis. That's from Nikki Glass. He's a celebrity friend. Glasser. Dan Ryckert pens an incredibly entertaining, cringe-inducing, heartwarming tale of growing up in the dumbest kid in gifted class, and I'm better for having read it. Greg Miller. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the blurb.
Oh,
I
no
really
problem.
appreciate
Please,
that.
no. Well, you know how much, I mean, I legitimately like your stuff. Like and that's,
legitimately like
I mean,
yours.
we're going to talk a lot about you here.
Okay.
But
I'm pretty shy, so
I know,
yeah,
I know.
that might be
But I
rough.
mean, well, the thing about it that cracks me up is that you and I we've come together, but we led parallel lives where we
Yes.
were doing very similar things, just not knowing the other existed.
Yes.
You went to the University of Kansas to get a journalism degree to go write about video games.
Not a journalism degree. I actually never took a journalism
I
class.
thought you did.
Not at all, no.
Oh, okay. What were you going there for then?
Film studies, because that was the easiest sounding major, but I still skipped all of
was.
those classes. So
Okay.
I don't know really anything about movies or anything else I was supposed to learn in college. I kind of skipped everything.
Gotcha.
And I spent all my time in college reviewing video games for local paper
that's
because
where it
I knew
gets
that's where I
confusing.
wanted to go. So I spent all my time with video games. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
And so I'm doing that in Columbia and blah, blah, blah. You go to Game Informer, I go to IGN. We both switch around, end up going our different ways, but still come together in the end, find out about each other. Turn out we're best friends. You love wrestling. I love wrestling. Some of your stories in the back there. And I remember when I graduated college, writing down an outline for a book that I was going to call I Was a Blue-Haired Antler. And it was going to be all my stories of like all the stupid shit I had done growing up and going through college and stuff. And of course, I never did it. And here you are with your book, not to mention the books you've done before this.
Well, you forget one part of our weird parallel histories in that we were both going after the same exact position. And probably about 2005, IGN PlayStation team had an opening.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Dunham was the one in charge of hiring for that. I did phone interviews for them. I went through a couple rounds of that. And we found out right when I moved out here and we went to that APW show that you were also, I think that was the one you got hired for.
Right. So that would have been for me. We would have been going at it in 2006 and then got the job in 2007.
Okay,
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
we were applying for the same job from a state away.
Yeah.
And you wound up getting it. It worked out fine for both of us.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. It all
So,
got
yeah.
there in the end. Yeah. But it's so weird that, like, I mean, you meet anybody in the video game industry, and not Nick, obviously. But
And
you meet
also-
anybody like Tim, and you're like, oh man, we are so similar, and we have all these similar, but like how closely related we were.
I even rooted for Mizzou whenever they came and played KU.
I like that.
Because,
That's why we can be friends.
People were very obnoxious at KU about the Jayhawks.
Yeah.
And so just to kind of piss them off and kind of play the heel.
Yeah.
In the early days of Facebook, I would always change my profile picture to the Mizzou Tiger.
Right.
And I would actually be threatened to get my ass kicked
Oh,
at
sure,
bars
yeah,
because
big
of that.
time. Yeah,
They
yeah.
took that very seriously.
Well, you know, it only took 4 years while I was there, but we finally got him in the end.
You did. I was at that
proud.
Beat
game.
him once, cried my eyes out.
Saw that game.
So, anyways, what I want to know everything. This book? What years are we covering?
So this is as early as maybe the age of 9. We're talking about early Catholic school stuff, all the way up to kind of mid-college, so maybe like 23,
Okay.
I'd say. There's one that kind of stretches from like me working at a Funkoland to me shooting this commercial when I was 18 at Game Informer's headquarters as part of this big ruse to get hired by them that worked. And so it does kind of follow through to like me going to E3 every year and harassing Andy McNamara until he hired me. That's the one chapter that kind of spans a lot because that
Yeah.
goes from like 16 to me shooting this commercial at 18 to me getting hired at 25.
What's the commercial all about?
So what happened was my whole life, all I wanted to do was work in gaming journalism, specifically Game Informer.
Yeah.
So I subscribed when I was 9. I love Game Informer. And I would look at the Meet the Editor section and be like, these are grown-ass men, and it's their job to play video games at work. Like, I need to focus every element of my life towards making this happen. So I worked at a Funkoland, and they would have those videos, the VHS tapes they would send every month, and they would never advertise Game Informer. So I called corporate headquarters and said, hey, I'm 18, I do a lot of video production work in high school. I would shoot a commercial for you guys for free if you'll just fly me up to Minneapolis and I'll shoot it up there. And they said, well, actually, we need, I go into a lot more detail on this in the book. But this
Of
is
course,
the,
we want you to read and buy the book, of course.
this is the broad strokes. They said, well, actually, we have to pay you. Legally, we can't have you do it for free. So they sent me $2,500 at 18. This is pre-YouTube, so I couldn't even they didn't ask for a reel or a DVD or anything. So they're just like, whatever, $2,500. Here's plane tickets. Here's your own suite at a hotel in Minneapolis. They sent me up there. I spent a week at Game Informer shooting this commercial. It was a Metal Gear Solid parody. It was like one of their editors dressed up as Solid Snake, which they gave me a prop budget too. And so I bought a Solid Snake suit. And so the whole script was like Solid Snake is sneaking into the Game Informer headquarters to get the magazine early, but then he gets kicked out, and it cuts to me and my Funkoland stuff saying, oh, there's an easier way to get Game Informer. Just subscribe, get the card thing, and bleh. And so I got paid for that. I got to know the guys, and then I started reviewing games and going out to E3 every year. And since they already knew me, I'd be like, Andy, remember I was the shark suit kid, which I have to explain. So they, in addition to giving me all this money and everything, they gave me a daily allowance for food, cabs, whatever. But they didn't say it had to be spent on food and cabs and stuff. So we went to the Mall of America, since we weren't old enough to drink, and that's the only thing to do in Minneapolis back then. And we went to a Halloween store, and there was a giant like mascot shark suit, which I thought just was hilarious. And I was like, well, I wouldn't buy this with my own money, but they gave me $200 a day.
But I have per diem.
And they said like, yeah, the Game Informer guys already got me lunch, and they told me like I could spend it on whatever, $200 a day. And so I bought this shark suit, and throughout the week, I'm just running around the office in the shark suit. And they even put me in that GI Spy section of the magazine where they were reviewing the Aquaman game for Xbox. So if you find the Jade Empire issue of Game Informer, you will flip to GI Spy, and there's an 18-year-old me in a shark suit 7 years before I get hired playing Aquaman. And so every single year at E3, I'd say, Andy, I'm the shark suit kid. I'm the shark suit kid. To the point where he was just like, yeah, I know the shark suit kid. Yeah, you want a job? We're not hiring right now. And I just did this every single year until he hired me.
Is that how it happened at E3 one year they were hiring?
It was 2009. They were leaving Club Nokia. It was the Nintendo presser. And I saw like the whole GI crew walking out. And Andy like stopped to talk to someone. I didn't want to harass him too much. And so I waited till that conversation was done. I walked up. I was like, hey, shark suit kid. And he was like, okay, actually, we might have some openings here. You know, we're redesigning the website and stuff. So let's be in touch. And then a couple months later, I was packing my stuff up and moving up to Minneapolis.
That's awesome.
Now, there's something I don't think it's a story Tim knows, and then I don't know if it's a story you would know about Tim. But there's something because I feel like the Catholic school thing. We wanted to write for magazines about video games. We did everything. We're right there together.
Yeah.
But it's a question, Kevin. Pay attention to the time code because I'm not sure if you ever talk about this one on air. So if we have to edit it out, you let me know.
Okay.
Can I tell the George Brett story?
Ha! Yeah.
Okay. So, like, viral videos are an interesting thing. And there's so many that you see and you never think about again. The one I always go back to, right, is the one, did you ever see this one of this kid, it was a talent show, and he was doing the live-action Mario Brothers, where like he comes out and hypes up the crowd, and they go crazy.
It's pretty old, right?
Yeah, and it goes boop, and he does the whole thing, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm at IGN one day. Tim's been working there for months, and it's revealed he fucking made that video.
Really?
He's Mario on
it's Mario,
stage.
man.
This was in the montage during Kind of Funny Live, wasn't it? I
Yes,
feel
it
like I
was.
saw
Yes, it
some
was.
clip of you doing
Yes.
that, and I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I never, and so like that blew my mind. Jumped to, I forget what party we're at, and somehow you stumble into telling me you're the guy who put up the Kansas City Royals George Brett video. And are you? I know you're not a baseball guy, but I guarantee you've run into this video.
Yeah, I'm not a sports guy either. I just knew the momentous, like how big this video was.
Right, George Brett. One of the most, maybe the most famous Kansas City Royal. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like he's the one. You go there, there's roads named after this man. He's this icon.
He's royalty in Kansas City.
Out of nowhere one day, this video came up on the internet. On the was it even YouTube back then? I don't even know what it was.
YouTube. This was
E-Bombs World.
2000.
100%.
Oh, actually, yeah, it did go on the front page of E-Bombs when that was still kind of a thing.
Cool.
But the original upload was YouTube. This would have been 08, 09 or so.
So explain it to Tim what it is and how you found it.
So the George Brett video is when I first graduated college. I knew I wanted to work in TV or, the main thing was video game journalism, but there are so few full-time positions. I would apply at IGN or GameSpot or Game Informer or whatever, and, it's not that easy to get a job doing this. And so I was like, well, okay, I'll just try to do some work in TV or production. So there's a sports-based TV station in Kansas City called Metro Sports. And I don't give a shit about sports. I never really have. But you know what? It's a control room. It's editing. I was doing sound and graphics and all this stuff. It's, important stuff to learn.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started, I was pulled into this room by this producer. And he's like, all right, hey, you work here now. You got to see this. Here's a DVD for you. And I watched it. It is a 3-ish minute clip of George Brett at spring training because he's old, retired, but he goes down to spring training in Arizona or whatever, and he was mic'd up. We were shooting a thing down there, and he goes into this extremely long, extremely detailed story about being at the Bellagio in Las Vegas and shitting his pants tremendously, like feces rolling down his leg, dripping out the bottom of his pant leg.
This like fucking god of baseball in Kansas City.
We're all human.
It's amazing. He's
done that
just
in
talking
Vegas.
about how tight his sphincter is clenched. I woke up in the morning, next morning, took the most perfect double tapered shit I've ever taken in my life. And then he just cuts right to, who's the pitchers in this game?
And the best thing is the guy he's telling the story to is like throwing the ball totally like just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I don't care about this. Stop talking talking to me about this.
It's these young guys that probably grew up idolizing George Brett, and now he's just this weird old man following them around the diamond, just talking about I'm good twice a year for shitting my pants. When was the last time you shit your pants? And they're just like, what the fuck? They're clearly trying to get away from George Brett.
From George Brett.
Yeah, and so I put that up, and I expected it to get kind of big in the Kansas City sports scene. I did not expect it to blow up the way it did, where it's like instantly front page of E-Bombs World, millions and millions of hits. And like it kept getting pulled down, like cockroaches trying to stamp it out, but YouTube clips like this keep popping
The
up.
internet always wins.
Yeah, and I was trying.
Streisand effect, I believe they call it.
Yes.
And I was trying to kind of stay low key because I'm like, shit, I might get in trouble for this. Like, they said in the paper, so this was in the paper like almost every day in the Kansas City Star, like Metro Sports employee, whatever, says, yes, we have a pretty good idea who it is, and we're going to pursue this to the fullest extent of the law. And I was like, holy shit, what have I done here? And so eventually, the TMZ TV show, I still have this clip on my phone, the TMZ TV show does a story, it's a brief one, it's like a minute and a half, of when they're all sitting around drinking their things, like, yeah, so I guess there's a manhunt for this guy leaking the George Brett poop pants video, and like, they use the word manhunt. And so every day I'm going to work. And at this point, I'd quit Metro Sports when I uploaded it. I'm working at Garmin, the GPS company, and every day I'm just reading the Kansas City Star every morning and waking up to all these texts like, "Oh man, they're coming after you!" Like they know it's you or whatever. And then sure enough, I get an overnight FedEx to my house eventually from someone at Time Warner, some like high-ranking executive at Time Warner, saying,
Ted Turner.
yeah, saying, Mr. Ryckert, we know it's you. We know that you're the one who leaked this, and we need you to like destroy all the tapes, and we need to talk to you or whatever. And so I had to get on the phone with this executive, and I was like, yeah, you know what, it was me. I own up to it. It was an immature thing to do. I just thought it was really funny. And the executive goes, now, Dan, no one is denying that it's funny. Like no one can watch that video and be like, oh no, that's not funny. This man talking about pooping his pants. But yeah, nothing ever came out of it really. I think probably they just didn't want it to get in the public eye anymore.
Yeah.
And any kind of like protracted legal proceedings or something would just make it. But like in the paper that year, this was a little bit before Halloween. Like the Kansas City Star had like hey, here's some fun local Halloween outfits. And one of them was just a George Brett uniform and just put some pudding on the back. It was chocolate pudding. Like everyone in Kansas City was talking about that.
Did George Brett ever respond to it? Did he ever say anything publicly?
I don't think he did. No, I don't think he ever directly addressed it. It was talked about that I would do some community service work for one of his charities or something.
And you didn't do
but
that.
Nothing ever like came up. I said I would do it. I was like, if that's what we want to do and all parties are happy or whatever, I'll do it. Never happened or anything. But here's the thing. George Brett is a monumental asshole. Like he has a long history of being a dickhead. Talk to anyone in Kansas City, over the age of 35, 40, and they will have George Brett was a dickhead to me in a 7-Eleven or whatever. Like he sucks. So I didn't feel bad about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But at any point, did you speak with a lawyer and say, hey, do they actually have any grounds for this? Or is it just
I talked to lawyers, yes.
Yeah.
And
because you didn't acquire the tape illegally. And he knew he was being filmed because he was mic'd up.
Right, so he was mic'd up. He knew he was being filmed. And also the way they painted it in the papers, like in Kansas City Star, where they're like, somebody broke in and stole this from our vault. Somebody, made it sound like I stole it.
It was a heist.
Yeah, but
I'm here for the George Brett B-roll.
Yeah, but it was literally me getting a job and a producer going like, you should want this. And I did, which there was, actually, I've never said this before. Here's your exclusive.
Oh, here we go.
There was a second video on that DVD.
No, was it Donald Trump?
Was it snuff?
No.
Pussy?
George Brett grabbed by the pussy.
I'll say this. It was not a notable public figure, but it is a hilarious video. If you would like to ever see it privately or anything, I can certainly show you.
Have it still?
I probably have it on a drive somewhere. We'd probably pull it up after
Let's
the show
put it
or something.
on our channel.
I thought about doing it.
Let's do it. Oh my God, that's genius.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Because it's like that thing, like when he told me about he was Mario, I was like, holy fuck. And then when you told me that, I'm like, I know that clip so well.
Yeah.
Because like I went to school at Mizzou with so many Royals fans, and I think it was the same thing of like, have you ever seen this video? Oh, you got to see this video.
Yeah.
Just watching George Brett talk about fucking shit in his pants.
It's a really weird thing though when you meet those people that have made those videos that in some small way like touched your life. Like I remember, I think it was the Cake Town video. Did you remember that? It was a spoof that they did. It was the 300 trailer, but it was instead of this is Sparta, they would say this is Cake Town, and all the swords and all the weapons were replaced with pastries.
No, I didn't see this.
It turns out I think Aransky made that, and I loved that. I watched that clip. I shit you not, like 50 or 60 times. Eric and I used to watch it all the time. And then meeting Aransky, I'm like,
what? Where did that come from?
You're fucking telling me.
Mike Aransky, he's one of those dudes where it's just like the amount of videos he had some hand in that I'm like, That was huge.
Yeah, that was huge.
Everyone in the fucking world saw that thing, and now he's just this motherfucker at IGN that's just like, oh, I wear funny
Well, I got a
hats.
kid.
out.
I don't wear
Sold
hats
out.
anymore because
He
I got
sold
too
out.
hot and almost died.
Yeah,
That's fair.
it's a true story.
It's true. He overheated his head.
So Dan,
Yeah.
the real question for me, for you, is this: were you going for a Run DMC look with the cover photo, or was that like where did the inspiration for that picture go?
Actually-
you're wearing like dope ass sweatpants.
No, there's nothing dope ass about this. These are my grandpa's painting pants and fishing hat, and I think my grandmother's glasses. Actually, this picture specifically has a part in the book in which I used to prank my family relentlessly, like just crazy, elaborate, pain in the ass pranks. And I detail all those in one of the early chapters. And my mom got me back because I was in 7th grade or 8th grade, and I was in school, and I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, she's dealing with all those pranks. I did all that stuff to her at the house. Like, oh, she's probably finding the stink bombs and all this dumb stuff now.
Damn, you were going all out. Stink bombs.
Oh, it was worse than that. What I did not
Live
know,
snakes.
yeah. What I did not know was she was actually at the school while I was in this class, and she had found all the most embarrassing photos of, when I was a kid. Like I had to do some like Christmas program with like a glittery green vest, like doing this dumb pose, and me in the tub or whatever, or this picture of me. And so I walk out of class and I'm walking to my locker, and I saw all these people gathered around my locker, and I'm like, what's going on here? Because like I was completely antisocial. I did not talk to anyone. I was very nervous around people, and I was like, why are all these people by my locker? I don't like this at all. And I got up, and somebody like looked at me, like one of the like football players, and was like, hey, looking good, Ryckert. And I was like, what's going on here? Like, and I walked up, and they were all plastered all over my locker, like all these super embarrassing photos. So I take them all down, and I think I'm in the clear. I get home, and she has emptied out my savings account, which I think was about $500 at the time.
Big
And
money when you're a kid.
Yeah, totally. And that's console money.
Yeah.
right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. And she had broken it all down into pennies and nickels and put it all over my entire bedroom floor.
I love your mom.
She's great.
Oh my god.
So I spent a good week. I had to go buy a coin rolling machine. And I'm sitting on my floor just like, oh, damn it, all right. So then that's when I stopped fucking with my mom and moved on to my dad because he's way too lazy to prank me back.
Damn.
So did your mom at any point think I should be the better person here? I should be the adult and like turn the other cheek, because potentially doing this to my son at this young impressionable age may forever change him and maybe, I don't know, put him on the path to being a serial killer?
It was deserved, and specifically this year it was deserved because it was before my pranks were even like clever. I just kind of fucked up the house every year for
You're just
April
an
Fool's.
the old
Yeah.
jackass maneuver.
Basically. So like I remember I would just get up really early and just do as much random crap as I could to the house. And one of them I grabbed a bunch of bananas and I threw it in the oven. And like I didn't turn it on.
Oh, God, okay.
But my idea was like, oh, she'll open up the oven and there'll be bananas there, and isn't that random, lol? Like that's not a joke, that's not a prank, that's just bananas in the oven. But I didn't realize that of course you
You'd
preheat an
the
oven.
yeah.
So she went to go make a pizza. She went to go make a pizza, and she preheated it, and by the time she got to
no.
it, banana stench was just all over the entire house. She opens it up, and it's just this sludge dripping down, and there's still residue on the oven floor that she couldn't scrape up.
Sure.
And like there were stink bombs I set off in the house that day, and the bananas were strong enough to like overcome the stink bomb stench. So that was the time she was like, "All right, fuck him," and like got those glasses and or got those pictures and went to
Well, you're lucky
school.
she shows retribution in the form of like her brain, because
Oh,
my mom
yeah.
would have fucked me up if I
Oh,
did
yeah.
that. Oh my god, physical abuse.
The
The
close.
Elena Scarpino special.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It also goes over one I did with my dad, and he responded by taking all my 360 games. I was home for winter break, and he was throwing them on the roof. And so that's about as far as he went as far as retaliation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Damn.
Oh
That's
my
brutal.
god. This is fantastic. Everything about this is so exciting.
What I want to know though is how do the books start for you? Because Air Force Gator, I remember when Air Force Gator originally happened, and it was I didn't know you well,
Right.
And I think Twitter still wasn't even really a thing, but people were talking about it in this weird tangential social media, maybe in
Weird,
comments
like,
somewhere.
Game industry stuff or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Is that the first? And is that like
That was the first book, and I'm so glad that I kind of learned how to do these books with these early ones, before I had kind of the following stuff now. Because like now that I have a following, I can actually put out a book that I take very seriously
Yeah.
and I put a lot of time into. Air Force Gator is a dumb joke. It's an in joke. Like it was fun writing it. I'm glad I put it out. But they were silly jokes,
Right.
There's typos in there. It's just, it's not a professional production. But through doing those Gator books and then the Jose Canseco one, which that's a whole other thing. Sorry, it's not about Jose Canseco for legal
No,
purposes.
it's not. It's very clear.
So then by the time I got out here, my following got a little bigger. I was able to do the Anxiety as an Ally
Right.
book, which, that actually, it seemed like that really helped a lot of people out. And so I was glad I had experience. So my first book that I really wanted to give some serious work on wasn't shoddy.
Sure.
I had some experience by the time I did the Anxiety book, and now I can fit all my other books into this one as far as word count and everything. But this came about because I'd always known I was going to write an autobiography because a lot of things have happened in my life, a lot of weird things, a lot of stories I've told on podcasts, a lot that I haven't. And in the 2 years almost that I've known my fiance, she's told me, like, you have to write a book. Like, this is insane, the amount of stuff that's happened in your life. And I was like, yeah, when I'm 50 or I'm retired or something, I'll write an autobiography. And she was like, well, why don't you do it like a David...
pay for the wedding right now.
Yeah. She said, why don't you do it like a David Sedaris book? And I was like, I'm not familiar. I've heard the name.
Oh, yeah.
But I read a couple of his books and I realized, like, it doesn't have to be chronological order. It can just be a series of stories that I tell.
Yep.
And I could write several books like that. And so I read a few of those. I kind of got the tone together. Like the format is directly like a Sedaris book. It's, a bunch of longer chapters, a bunch of stories in between them, kind of out of order. But that's totally where it came from. Was the Sedaris thing, and it was amazing to write it that way.
What was the big book he wrote?
Me Talk Pretty was really
Me Talk
good.
Pretty one day, When You're Engulfed in Flames.
Okay.
Let's Explore Diabetes with Owls. But they're all kind of that same style.
Right.
And it's just been so much fun to write in this way and get all these stories out in one place. Because I've told many of these stories, very abbreviated versions of these stories on podcasts and stuff, but I want just one thing. So like if somebody follows me tomorrow and has never heard me on a podcast or anything, they can pick this up and get a pretty good idea of what led me to be this way and everything. So I'm extremely proud of it.
That's super cool.
How long did it take you to write this one?
This one was 5 months, which was the other ones usually took 1 or 2 months.
That's not bad though, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
That's pretty. I mean, because considering that some people can take up to 2, 3, 4 years to write
right
books. I mean, the fact that you're kind of able to let that put it on the page, get it together, and let it go.
Yeah, I just when I get focused on one of those things, like as soon as I see that it's really going to be a thing, like once I get a couple chapters in the can, it's like okay. This is actually going to be a book. I need to spend time, like every weekend, I'm going to the coffee shop. I'm just going to chug coffee and write for hours and hours and hours.
Right.
So it was like 4 or 5 months of writing, and then maybe a month of I had a bunch of people proof it. Sumit Sarkar from Polygon was one of the proofers. So I had a bunch of people that were, writers that proofed it. So I feel like this is the most professional thing I've done.
And so
by
that's
far.
the other thing for the professional side of it. Is it self-published? What do you?
It's
how is it?
well,
Okay.
I guess I technically have my own publishing company. So
Technically.
but I mean, I don't have a building or anything like that. Up to
World
something.
Records.
We got a room. We got a room back there that's free. It's got
Oh,
a
yeah?
table and a bunch of boxes.
Okay,
So you can
sweet.
work out of there
That can be
whenever
up
you
to
want.
something publishing right there.
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay, great.
You have to deal with
Up to
Kevin though,
something,
because he
that's
wanders
awesome.
back
Yeah.
there like a small cub, like a little bear.
Okay, great.
Did you
It's
design
crazy.
the cover of this?
I had the general idea of the front. I knew I wanted this picture and just the general font placement, but it was my fiance that she does a lot of graphic design and art and stuff. So she had the idea of the whole photo album thing on the back and the spine, and everything. Like she did all the coloration, everything on the front. Like she nailed it.
That's
So-
awesome. I just
Yeah,
want
so-
to give a shout out to Baba Nu, my favorite font.
Oh yeah.
You might know this from every kind of funny video ever.
Let me see.
Oh really?
Made in the last year.
I do like that
Yeah.
font.
Big
Damn,
fan
you
of this
actually
font.
can notice that? That's awesome.
It's awesome.
I would have thought it was Helvetica. I think everything's
It's not.
Helvetica.
It's not.
I-
Baba Nu's
Prove
the
it.
new Helvetica.
Oh,
Fair enough.
okay.
Fair enough.
It's I wanted to keep it mostly lighthearted. I mean, they're all pretty much just silly, kind of insane stories, like just the weird stories about when I made that movie with George Clinton when I was 18, and a bunch of weird
George
stuff
Clinton
like
from
that.
the Parliament Funkadelic?
Yeah, I was on when I was 18. I was
were in
on stage
PCU?
with him. I was not in that. He was in my movie.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. When I was 18, it was
seems like
originally
a
supposed
cool
to be
guy.
Ted Nugent, but then it turned into.
Then you
From
Huge.
Ted Nugent.
Which here's the thing. I knew a lot of these stories were going to sound super unbelievable. So I actually, if you go to danryckert.com now or my Facebook page, I put up an album of photos directly from these stories that prove
Smart.
that this is all true.
awesome.
So you will see all these photos of me with George Clinton and all this
Did you
stuff
think
that
about putting
happens.
those in the book at some point?
I kind of thought about it, but to be honest, I didn't want to put a lot of pictures in
Right,
here.
right.
So, but yeah, it's mostly lighthearted. I did include one chapter because it's mostly supposed to be important stories to me growing up, and I was there when Owen Hart fell.
Yep, yeah.
In
Back
Kemper Arena.
there.
I was in the eighth row.
Over the edge, Kansas City.
1999.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of hard to write a book about big things that happened in my life without including that, because I watched one of my favorite wrestlers die, and it was a whole fucked up thing. And I've never seen like a really, like the events of that show are so weird. Like most people just saw the pay-per-view broadcast.
Right,
And
and
that
they cut to
didn't
the crowd,
show
silence,
anything.
and-
You just saw Jim Ross saying like, oh, he actually died, this and that part of the entertainment. But I mean, I was there, and I have not seen anyone give a thorough, like, hey, this is what it was like being in the arena, where they weren't telling us anything. We didn't know what was going on. So yeah, there is a whole chapter near the end that is about being there and what that was like. So yeah, it's mostly lighthearted, but there are a couple times where, you know, that's a little, I guess, I don't know if darker is the word for it, but...
Well, it's defining, right? For an autobiography, that stuff's going to be in there.
yeah, I mean, it was one of the most memorable, you know, for bad reasons, parts of my life. But overall, I'd say it's a pretty lighthearted thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever talked about it. I really did like anxiety.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
The fact that when you did that and you talked about that and you talked about how it came out of nowhere for you and you
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know what it was and how to
Yeah,
grapple
yeah.
with it. And I liked how honest that portrayal of it was.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, that's the first one I wrote where I was like, you know what, I actually kind of want to take this stuff seriously.
Yeah.
Where, you know, the Gators were fun, but they weren't serious. So anxiety was the first one, and then this is definitely the big one, especially in terms of like word count and everything.
Sure.
This looks real as fuck.
It's a real ass
That's
book.
awesome. It's a real ass book, man.
Like Air Force Gator is 24,000 words. The second one was 34. Anxiety was like 44,000 words. This is 84,000 words. So like,
awesome,
this is a real deal. Like, it's not like giant Reader's Digest font or anything. It's
Yeah,
a real deal.
yeah.
So seeing the physical copy is pretty insane after 5 months of just kind of slaving away at this thing. So,
Yeah, I can only imagine, man. Congratulations. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Of course, available now, ladies and gentlemen, on Amazon. Link in the description.
Kindle and paperback.
Kevin's been throwing up the image, I bet, the whole time. This is kindoffunny.com/Dan's book, though.
Oh,
So we'll do that.
well, thank you.
No problem.